Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I am Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. It's a Tuesday morning. I was looking at the date, April 23rd. One thing I'm going to talk about later is pompano fishing. We're right at the peak, in my opinion, and I've done it for a very long time. In my opinion, we're right at the peak of pompano fishing. So it's right here toward the end of April, 1st of May. They're just jumping out of the surf into your little beach cart. So be ready for that. Weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center, and don't forget their open house and all this week. High today, 82. Low is 60. Pretty even numbers there. Water temperature at the pier now is 71 degrees. Pretty steady. Take a look at our river readings. Look at the Apalachicola up Bluntstown. Can you believe it's almost up to 18 feet again? Is that incredible? It's just, it's right, 17.7 to be exact, but it's high. But the Choctaw Caravel is hanging in there and in great shape at a 6.6. So that's in really good shape. But the Apalachicola, it's just not giving us a break and hasn't in a long time. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest. Oh, by the way, our river reading brought to us by Mountain Dew. Take it outside with Mountain Dew. Now, the tide chart strong this week, really strong tide, especially today. High 11:44, right in the middle of the day, and it starts going out, and it's going to be low tonight at 11:08. A marine forecast to be south at 11. Anytime it gets double figures, that's sort of always been my sort of signal to stay off the water for my small boats and all. South at 11. It's going to swing on around and lay down tonight to be north-northwest at about 6. So that's our marine forecast. Let's take a break, come back and call Sea Quarters Marina. Okay, welcome back, folks. And on the phone, we have with us Captain Kim from Sea Quarters Marina. I got a hold of her, and we're going to find out what's going on down there. Good morning, Captain Kim.
Good morning, Mr. Chester. Everything's doing great here. The weather's finally calmed down, and we got everybody loading up on crickets, going out doing some river fishing this morning.
All right, so river fishing has been pretty good, huh?
Yes, sir. The stump knockers are longer than your arm, and the brim have been biting real well, and Mr. Beebe even got himself a load of crickets this morning. He's going to go out and see what he can't catch.
Well, tell him not to catch all of them now. I know what he does. He gets on them.
He does. He never comes home empty-handed, that's for sure.
I'm telling you. I need to get down there and just video him fishing one day. I know.
He's a hoot now.
I know the weekend, over the past weekend, last week or two, it's just really been blowing hard up this way. It's been blowing down that way?
Certainly has. We've got more branches on the ground than we do in the trees lately.
Okay, what we got to look forward to in the future? Anything on the redfish or trout? I know they haven't been able to get out of the bay, but anybody catch anything up in the river or on? Yeah,
they've been doing real good with that. Gentleman came in yesterday with a good-sized redfish. They've been catching them right about the edge of the river, mouth of the river, and right off the pavilion there on Marine Street.
Oh yeah.
They're moving around up in here, yeah, and a lot of whiting off the beach. Catfish, of course, are plentiful and real good size. So they've been doing some real good fishing around here now that the wind's calmed down a bit. I can't wait to see what they bring home from offshore.
Well, I think this is going to be a really good week. The weather looks good and all. It's going to be a good week. Now, what's coming up? Anything going on down there coming up anytime soon down around the Caravel, Franklin County area?
Yeah, we've got our Riverfront Festival back on line. They thought they were going to cancel it because they were having a problem with, getting everybody organized. But they're going to have Saturday the 27th. They do a 5K run. And then, of course, you got activities and vendors and what have you, arts and crafts from 10 till 6, right down here from the office. They'll have live music and entertainment and, of course, food. So they've got all kinds of stuff happening on Saturday the 27th right here in Caravel.
All right. Well, that sounds exciting. We may run down that way.
Would appreciate seeing you, yeah.
Okay. Well, great talking to you, Captain Kim, and good luck.
Okay, you bet. Have a great week, and hope the Easter Bunny was good to you.
Okay, thank you. And he was. Thank you. We had a great Easter. I know a lot of y'all did, too. Always great to have family, food, fellowship, and the faith interaction with everybody. So it was really, really good. Let's take a look at some of the pictures. And I tell you what, she brought up a good point now before we get to the pictures. She was talking about the wind is sort of dying down just a little bit, and they're starting to catch fish, and that's what's going to happen this week and toward the end of, especially toward the end of the week and all. All right, here we go. Let's look at. We've got a lot of pictures, and here's one. I'm going to read emails and show you the picture. Dear Winston, my husband Dennis and I have been wintering in Carabel and fishing off the Franklin County coast for 15 years. On Friday, April 12th, we had a super fishing trip with our friend George Baldwin. In addition to the beautiful redfish, 36 inches and 16.5 pounds in the picture, we caught sea bass, king mackerel, grunts, red snapper, and grouper. As we were changing sea bass holes, we were entertained by a pod of about 40 dolphin. As conscientious anglers on illegal fish were kept. Karen Luzzy. So that is, let me show you the picture right, let's see, here's a picture right here. Now, you look at these fish and all coming out, those redfish coming out of the Gulf. Now, isn't that a beautiful picture and all? And that was a fine trip. That was before all that wind came in and all. So thank you, Karen. I asked her, they went about 8 miles offshore, which is not very far down there. All right, now, I don't know these guys, but this is a story here, and Jeff and I were talking about towing boats and everything, and the safety factor and all. This is Alachua County, down around Gainesville, and here's what these guys did recently. Okay, this is what they had to save, or sort of get uprighted. Look at that, 300 horsepower. The trailer, they lost control of the trailer. You can tell it's in Florida with the trees and everything. And here's what happened: the boat, they got it upright. Okay, and I got a series of pictures. And they're working hard. This is a job now to get something like this put back together. And there they are. They got it upright and all. So, the big boats, towing big boats, and with that much weight on the back end, it could be dangerous. So anyway, hats off to those guys for saving that. Braden Harris, our buddy Braden, after years of mistakes and one missed shot, I caught one this morning. Looking for love in the wrong place. Wasn't a long beard I was hoping for, but I got to start somewhere. 3 3/8 inch bill. Beard, and shot him at 50 steps. Big thank you to Mr. Joy Brock for calling him up. Okay, here's a picture right here. Good job and a great picture right there. And we've got to get your daddy in it now. I know he's out there supporting you 100%. So good picture of Michael and Braden Harris on a nice gobbler there. I thought this was good. Bill Dance, fishing can add years to your life and life to your years. And is that not so true? And you can tell he's on a pretty river right there, pretty creek. Okay, hope you got a sense of humor this morning. This is a miracle that a teenager survives on his own for almost 6 hours with no Wi-Fi out in the wilderness. Isn't that scary? And while we're on humor, fossilized skull of a Florida mosquito. And everybody started getting bad, I can promise you. Okay, now, let's get back to local here, Mexico Beach. They're working really hard at Canal. We just cannot fathom how much junk, I say junk, it was good stuff at one time, now it's junk, that's in the bottom of that canal in Mexico Beach. And they're working really hard to salvage it, and that's a good thing right there. I just want to hats off. And it's going to be open pretty soon. Okay, Friday, April 26th. Okay, this is really good. This is National Arbor Day in Port St. Joe. We're celebrating National Arbor Day. More than 4,000 trees will be given away free of charge to residents of our community. Plant your trees, and as they grow, post pictures and all. So that's going to be on Monument Avenue, 113 Monument Avenue. They're giving away trees for the residents and all. 4,000 trees. That's a good thing right there. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. I appreciate the viewership and so glad you're with us this morning. We're going to add some names that's been sent in. Okay, Vonnie McBroom from Defuniak, Sam McBroom Defuniak. Okay, then we got Rudy Vincent, Steve Rogers. If they don't put where they're from, we're assuming they're from the Panama City area. Okay, and up here in Bascom, Tyler Patrick and Clay Patrick up there on River Road, selling all that real estate up there, good land up there. That's just a pretty country up in that neck of the woods. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. One thing I wanted to mention, let's see, let's talk about, I ran across this, and I'm just going to share it with you because someone contacted me not too long ago, 2 weeks ago to be exact. they saw a panther. And you know how we get on this panther kick every now and then, because I saw one in 1987. I did personally on Choctaw River, but anyway, they say there are no panthers up here, but we've had some people to see one recently, a couple of people. So anyway, I was checking, and I ran across this, and I won't read you the details, but FWC issues a grim panther toll, and basically, listen to this. They updated the Panther Pulse page on this month, and all the agency reports there have been 8 documented deaths of panthers this year. Okay, there's been 8 taken this year. Now here's the kicker: all but 2 victims of car collisions. 6 out of 8 been car collisions, and at night and all. That's just in 2019. So far, the cause of one death was unknown, and one death was aggression. So in other words, 2 panthers got in a fight, and that's just wild. But right now they've only had a new litter of 2 females. So we've lost 8, and 2 have come on. So we keep going in the hole as far as panther population. It's not a pretty picture and all. I just ran across. If you run across one in the woods and all, here's just some pictures. Beautiful animal. And I'm just going to show you some pictures. Make sure you can identify them and make sure it's not a bobcat. And this is an interesting one here because this has a collar on it, on the neck. See the collar? I don't know if you can see it right there, but it's got a tracking collar. And boy, now look at that leap. And that's why these people that saw one here in the Panhandle, they saw leaping. And that's why that's why they knew it was a panther. Okay, another picture of it. And there's some beautiful pictures and beautiful animal, okay? So anyway, be aware of the panthers and all. I want to go ahead and while on our FWC page, I ran across this. Lee Sheriff's Office, Fish and Wildlife, a fatal boat crash off Pine Island, okay, which is down south of us, but it's a real popular place. But this was the 6th boat fatality in Lee County this year. That's 6 in that one county. In Lee County, is an active county sort of, as far as boats and all. But it made me start thinking about safety and all. And go back here. Let's get back here locally. Just this past week or so, we've lost 2 people in swimming or boating accidents. 2 weeks ago over at Destin, there were 2 guys out, and the waves got one of them fell out, and they finally did find his body. But I was just right off the coast there over in Destin. And then just last week here around the pier, all that rough water, 2 young people, a 20-year-old, they got out there and got in that surf, and one of them lost their life. And the thing about that, the waves, just look at the waves and it look dangerous. And then the flag system, it's always debatable whether that flag system works. A lot of people say they never look at flags. Well, that's no excuse, folks. You've just got, if you're on the water and all, you've got to look at those flags. You just got to get a habit. You got to teach those kids to look at those flags. It was double red flags flying that whole week and all. You remember how rough it was. You cannot get in the water on double red flags. And I know the mentality of 20-year-olds, and they're invincible, and I know you just want to wait out. But once you feel the power of nature and that undertow, and sometimes it's too late. And I'm sure that's what happened. It's heartbreaking for the family. And the same way when that hurricane came in, you feel that power of nature. You don't feel it very often, but when it does, you're at the mercy of nature, and you've got to realize that. So as far as safety, and another thing too, I got this picture here talking about boating safety. Let me get back to it. This is fascinating now. Check this out right here. Can you see that floating? One of the viewers, that's a floating 2x12. And it looks like a 16-foot long. And they towed it in. They almost ran over it out there in the bay system. And that's something we've got to be so aware of this spring and summer, especially with the high winds coming in. Every tree just about has some dangling limbs. You can see them from the storm and all. And now over this past weekend when all that heavy wind and all, I think everybody, including myself, had limbs in their yard being blown off, they were partially dead anyway, and a heavy wind blew them off. But what's happening along the waterfront, all along, those limbs being blown in, and we had some super high tides last week because of the wind and the full moon and all. And it gets up there, and a lot of that debris, because this happened to my house, the reason I know this, a lot of that debris that's sort of up there, the tide comes in, and then the wind blowing, so it just floats it out right in the middle of the bay somewhere. And I'm talking about logs, limbs, floating deck coming off somebody's yard or something, all kind of stuff. So that's just in my little neck of the woods. And you can imagine way out in other parts, especially the West Bay, and especially down there in the East Bay area, because it got hit a lot harder than we did over in West Bay, and also down in St. Joe and all. So be aware of that. So safety, and along those lines, try to take that safe boating class. If you haven't taken it, try to go online and take safe boating, try to get your teenagers to take it. I know our outdoor ed class takes safe boating, and they spend a couple of days in the classroom. You can do it online, and it's just something really good to take, okay? So just be aware of that. Let's see, what else? Let's go ahead and take our break now, and we'll come right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's look at fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. 407 to 607 this morning, and this evening 4:34 to 6:34. Now, early morning fishing is really important this week, so keep that in mind. This Saturday, if you want to go down to around Carabel or St. George Island, all down in that area, if you're going to be around the St. George Island area Saturday noon, we're meeting some of my old high school friends. I say old high school friends, girls and guys I went to school with. We're just going to meet there and have lunch at the Blue Parrot. Some of them in town, and a lot of them we don't see much. And a group of us going to meet and have lunch at the Blue Parrot, around noon or one-ish on Saturday. So if you're in the neighborhood, stop by and say hello. And I'm going to be eating a fish taco, I imagine. So I'd love to see if you're in that neck of the woods. A lot of times I don't get to see folks, and I may run them down to Carabel while we're there. Also, keep in mind the big thing about, before I get into pompano fishing, because we're at Pico, let me mention this. Last Friday night, I did go to see Scott Burrows at his talk at Mosley, and I was telling Jeff, I got up Friday morning, and I wanted to sort of, on motivational speakers, I've always been fascinated with them, because I've seen some great ones in my lifetime. They're all good. And so I wanted to read his book. I didn't want to read it. I was just going to flip through it and just sort of get some background before I went and heard him speak. I sat down Friday morning and just started flipping through it. I read his whole book Friday, and it was really fascinating and interesting. What a great testimonial this guy has for vision, mindset, and grit. So then when we got there Friday night, of course, I saw a lot of folks, Ronnie Groom, and just so many people were there that I knew. The overall crowd was not as many as I would have liked to have seen, and they would have liked to have seen. I'm sure they were a little disappointed in the crowd, and I know it's Easter weekend and all, but anytime you get a chance to see somebody like this and all, it's fascinating. He was in his wheelchair and started doing his talk. About halfway through his presentation, he was going back and forth in his wheelchair and giving his life story. In fact, there was a lot of stuff out of the book, so I knew as he was telling the story, I knew what was going to happen. So that was good and bad. So anyway, he was going back and forth on the stage in that wheelchair, just like a speaker would walk back and forth talking and moving his hand and everything. And then about halfway through that, all of a sudden, folks, he just stopped, and he actually reached down with his hands and picked up his left leg and put down, then picked up the right leg, and he actually stood up and did the rest of the presentation standing up, walking. Now, he had a golf club as a sort of a cane, but he was actually walking. Talking about 6 years of intense therapy to get to that point, and what a great story. And he had I'm glad I went. Anytime you get a chance to go see that, do that. Now, let's get back to what does that have to do with outdoors? Just thinking positive, believing in yourself, knowing you can get it done. It's just a great thing. So when you go fishing, you got to think you got to catch fish. So last night, because I want to go pompano fishing this week, I remember I told you last week, try to get everything small, put it in small packages and all instead of lugging big old. I used to have old tackle boxes. I still have a tackle box that big, it looks like a suitcase, and I got all kind of stuff in it. But what you want to try to remember, you got to take that stuff in, then you got to bring that stuff out, especially if you go to isolated places. So I've downsized on so many different things, and this is what I have on this. I don't know if you see, I wrote pompano. I just wrote it on here. I wrote it here, pompano. So I know all my pompano, and it's pretty heavy too. And so I sort of specialize, and I can put this in one hand and my rod and reel in the other hand, and I'm gone. Now, I'm gonna open this up while I go. It don't smell, it smells bad because it's got all my stuff in it, but I'm just gonna show you, and it's packed full. this is enough to last me 2 lifetimes, I think. Of course, according to how much you fish, but okay. A lot of these right here, I started, we used to rig our own, but I just own the Panhandle Pro Rig. That float, that yellow float, keeps it up off the bottom, and I've really been sold on these. I have some of all kinds, so I have a bunch of these in there. All those are in there, and let's see. Here's one of them I'm talking about. In fact, it's already still got the bait. That's what it smells. Still got the bait from last year. But you can see where the float is sort of keep it up off the little float right there, keeps it up. That's a little crab right there. I didn't catch anything on it. So I got those. And then, of course, you go through, I've got so many fish bites, okay, and that's sand flea flavored, shrimp flavored, different colors. And I'm gonna show you my favorite color, but it's sort of a greenish color. Okay, y'all think I got enough for those? So I got to stop and get some green ones. I don't have any green ones. I'll tell you something. All right, then I've got the regular Panhandle rigs right here with these don't have enough floats on them. And I have 3 rigs, and I put floats on 2 rigs, and I put just a regular rig on the other. But like I said, we used to rig them up ourselves. It's so easy to just buy them prepackaged. It's a no-brainer to buy them like that. And of course, your triangle weight to go on them, so it'll look something like this. This is sort of how it looks. So this is triangle weight right here. 2 ounces usually what I use is according to how rough it is. If it's, on a really big rod and reel, a real strong rod, I'll throw out a 3 ounce. And like I said, you've seen me before talking about how far you throw out, but this is just a good rig right here. It's got a lot of, I try to stay away from all the shiny metal. Okay, and then I've got, of course, you got to have some little pliers and all. I got some sand in here. I wanted to get on some of these jigs, okay, and this is original Panhandle jigs. I used to do a lot of jig fishing. I don't jig fish as much. It's the most silly willies from way back in the day. But I've got some more stuff too. I don't have time to get into it. You got to have a knife, and look, that's some old stuff stuck to it. And every tackle box got to have some kind of stuff like that. Okay, now, so and there's some more stuff I want to show you, but basically you can put it all in one little box. I got to get out of here. Thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. I appreciate the viewership. Do something good today for your fellow man. You have a great day. Enjoy the outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.